That's a bit loud on my end.
It is a bit loud.
What's that?
And we're live!
Listen to the loudness.
So loud! Oh god!
What was that?
Hey, beautiful people, what's going on? We're getting ready for another Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. We're going to talk about everything Linux and open source. It's going to be amazing. We're doing a little bit of a pre-show with our super loud audio. Getting it slowly dialed back in.
Even Jordan's complaining that it's loud.
Yeah.
You know it's loud when Mr. Loud himself complains.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
Hi, Rohit. Hi, Jordan. Hi, Jellybean. Hi, Linux Gnaru.
Linux Nuru has been drinking, according to regular Discord chat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be a more pertinent announcement to say Linux Nuru isn't drinking?
Yeah, okay, fair.
When, you know, I mean, point out things when they're not in their natural state.
Oh, cool. Jack, Jellybean. Yay, my nephew's in the house. Awesome. What's his name in IRC? Let's see.
It's,
It's what?
when you're stuck in the middle of the jungle, out in Tanzania, yeah, you drink.
TIL, there's jungles in Tanzania.
Where do you think all the fiber baboons live?
That hurts my brain too much, man.
Hey, Patrick, Mir. And I hope J-Girl's in. That's Joanna, our friend from Scale in Linux Check.
Right.
So, it's not that the Linux Game Cast, official LA group is the Linux Chicks LA. It's more that Linux Gamecast is the official Linux Chicks LA YouTube channel. I'm okay with this.
Very true.
Oh no.
Good, Pedro.
Totally fine. We finally have some credibility to our name.
Aww. No, Matthew, that's not me. That's Joanna. That from our parties. Our
Jordan,
LGC
we're
parties.
gonna have to poke the Rainbow Bridge some more because it's not having it, is the apt way of saying it.
Hi, Maddie19.
Oh, Maddie made it in. All right.
And hello to my nephew Evan again, even if he's not in IRC. Hello, I'm glad you're watching. Yay.
It looks like it says Striba.
Yeah.
It was bouncing
Steve
me
husband.
out too. Oh, Steve's here. Everyone. Shh, shh, shh.
Cheer me up, Steve husband.
Yeah, no.
What?
I was just giving the connection refused when I tried to join.
Yeah, it was. I tried it way early this morning. Just let's see if this thing is going to work. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it would bounce me out. And
Is that the open fire one? That
what?
we were testing the open fire link?
No. We're
No.
deploying
Oh, okay.
our own Jitsi instance.
Yeah. No, I knew that. I thought you changed subjects. Oh, good, Steve husband. Awesome.
That's one big ladybug. Or
What?
one tiny snail.
What?
The comic that was posted.
No.
What's that on your back?
You know, I definitely gotta commend the ladybugs for not infesting my house for once this year.
We had one
Aw.
like in February or something. It's just, oh, random ladybug. Neat. Beats the thunderbugs. That's a new thing that we don't have in Portugal. These really, really tiny, really, really thin bugs that don't really seem to do anything. They're just about, and they're everywhere. I don't even know why they
Thunderbugs?
call
Wait,
them-
wait. That you're burying the lead, man. Thunderbugs?
Yeah, I have freaking no idea why they call them thunderbugs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they make no sound. They look like teeny tiny little fruit flies, like thinner fruit flies. It's... I honestly do not know the purpose of that particular being's existence, but there it is. And they're everywhere here. It's like, you're just
Wow.
going around, it's like, oh, there's a lot of insects in the air. Oh, $100.
Thunderbugs. Dude.
Thunderbugs.
Oh, man. Please tell me there's like a Portuguese animated children's cartoon called Thunderbugs. This will make me happy.
It would have to be a UK animated cartoon because these don't exist in Portugal. So, yeah.
I thought everything existed in Portugal. It was just slightly better than things that existed in Spain. I don't know. This is what Pedro says.
Well, that is true. Most of what exists in Portugal is slightly better than everything that exists in Spain, just because it's not, you know, written in Spanish.
It's cold, man. It's cold.
I'm just waiting for Frostclaw to say something at this point.
Alright. I think I got you dialed back in on the compressor.
Alright.
Yeah, Joanna, I'm glad you're in. Yay, you finally made it to a live stream while you're at work.
That's right, Jill. Tempt everything to go down in a ball of fire.
Alright. I'm gonna go get a refill right quick. I'll
You
be right
just
back.
got a refill.
Yeah, I need another one.
See,
Yes,
ladies
Steve
and
has
gentlemen,
been-
this is why you get a regular sized cup.
Yeah. Yes, Steve husband, I'm glad our kitty's doing well. We have a cat in the hospital right now. Linux Gnu changed his name to J-Boy.
You see, one of the things I learned a long time ago is when I was in university and we just moved out of just like the dorms area and we got our own place. The dude I lived with, Dave, would drink all of my Diet Cokes. I'd put them in the fridge and, you know, we didn't have big fridges. I'd slide it in there and I'd put a six, you know, take six and like Tetris them in there. And I'd come back and get out at the end of the day, like 2 left. I'm like, oh, this is BS, man. So I learned to drink them warm because he wouldn't drink them if they weren't cooled.
Ew, disgusting.
Still to this day, I mean, this has got the diet beverage in it, and it's just like warm. But it worked out perfectly because sometimes he would take some of the warm ones and put them in the ice box, and I'd be like, oh, thanks.
Room temperature diet
Yeah.
soda is my corn cover band name.
Okay. I do not believe Zool is impressed.
Yeah, only Zool.
I need a movie to go watch. Is there anything worth watching? I gotta use that movie pass thing at least once a month, or I feel like I'm not winning.
The buses here still have the Deadpool 2 and
I've seen Deadpool 2.
Show Dogs.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think I hate myself even to look that up.
I don't know. Apparently, Ludacris is in it because the advertisement on the side of the bus says it does. So yeah.
Huh. Oh, I think they're taking another stab at making an Aeon Flux movie again. Can't wait for that nightmare.
Oh,
really?
The original one had some really good parts in it.
Jill, they never made an original one.
well, it was originally a cartoon on MTV, I believe.
Next thing you're going to be saying they made sequels to The Matrix. They didn't make sequels to The Matrix either.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that live action Aeon Flux movie everyone was just dogging on it.
I know.
Years later I watched it and it's like, yeah, it deserved most of that.
Yeah, well, I liked, I thought it was kind of fun in parts.
Never seen Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I like Twin Peaks, Jordan.
I saw a couple of random episodes because one of the Portuguese TV cables was airing it.
With the random cables? Is that how it works in Portugal? You have to plug in a different cable?
No, just random episodes in a specific cable channel. Yeah, no, during university, we had cable and we weren't paying for it because the previous tenants who were there had canceled the contract, but the company never really stopped the service. So yeah, free cable.
Hi, Evan Dynamite. That's my nephew. He's in. Yay. Yay. He's learning Linux.
You can't get away with that. All the cable's digital now. There's no chance of. I remember that being a thing. Now that you've talking about that,
you have the satellite dish, and they just never stopped broadcasting to that particular dish. So neat.
The analog cable, that used to be a thing moving into a place. It's like it was always worth checking. You're like, let's do we have free TV?
That was the thing when we first moved in. It's like, oh, the TV reception here is not great, and it's like, okay, let's try the different bands. So we just put it on auto. It's like, holy crap, that's cable TV. Nice.
Oh. Yeah, Evan, the kitty, I guess, is doing okay. It's in the hospital. Frodo was on death's door, so, but we're hoping he'll snap out of it after we give him some new blood. Poor kitty. And Evan, Matthew's name in chat is Strider. So, and he just said hello to you. Hi, Nicole, Linux chick. Yay.
Incredibles.
Linux chicks are in the house. And Nicole's going to be
superheroes.
Yeah, it's not really. I don't think I have like any irrational hatred towards it, but I don't.
The first one came out a long time ago.
I know that The Incredibles. That's like the family superhero thing, right? Yeah, this is not something I'd normally. Which then again, I watched that stupid Zootopia movie, so
Yeah.
didn't completely hate it. I was like, oh, it was well done.
Yay! And there's Wintercell. That's Alyssa. That's Mr. Alert's sister, and she's been also joining us in the Friday Foo Bar, as well as Nicole. And Nicole, I'm gonna have in our group room this coming Friday. I'll make sure to get her in there, showing her how to do it.
And we have group chats in Steam, everyone. If you're on the betas,
yeah.
So we're going to talk a lot about that on Saturday. Valve kind of walked out and they're like, "Hey guys, look at this new thing that Discord's already ate our lunch on this, and I don't know why we wasted time and money developing it."
You already had group chats on Steam. If you were in an actual group, you could just join chat for that group. Now the big difference is you can create a group for just chatting without having to create an actual group.
Of course you can, Linux Gnaru. Please join us. I think you're my friend on Discord. Just friend me, and we'll get you in. Of course.
If we have room.
Yeah, we have room. We're starting to run out of room now. And we got lots of people that want to participate, and some of the games only...
But here's the thing. There's always audience participation.
Yes, always audience. Yes.
You can play the game at home with us, and your votes will affect.
And my mug this week is a penguin.
It's horrifying.
Yay!
All right. What? What, you haven't seen that before?
Yeah.
No. That was the first time I saw it go by.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's floated around chat for a while now.
All right. I'll be right back.
Hi, Rohit.
And cut off some fans and stuff, and we'll get started.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to get me some of those USB fans. It's getting real warm around here.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And even with the Ryzen not being as hot as the FX8370, it's still gets pretty toasty. I haven't seen it crack 70 Celsius yet. It during the renders for the video, if you watch the reviews, it's usually me playing the game, and I run that through Handbrake to get the vent, because it's much nicer to upload a 1 gigabyte or several hundred megabyte files instead of a 90 gigabyte file or a 100 gigabyte file. I think the biggest one was Tomb Raider. That was 130 something gigabytes, just the raw footage. Like, damn!
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
That's a sizable chunk of my 1 terabyte YOLO SSD RAID. Like,
yeah, I used to have several terabyte size files, and this is back in the 90s when we were doing uncompressed video, and we had to, how you had to do it is you bring it in as a target sequence, and you split them on like 100 DVDs. That's how we had to do it. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrifying. It'd take forever just to back them up. And we didn't have the hard drive capacity. I kept having to buy hard drives, and it was external SCSI drives.
Yeah.
Ugh, horrible. Because we didn't have terabytes, of course, then.
External SCSI, what kind of speed would you get through that?
Well, I always had the high-end ones. So I always usually had 100 megabit a second. Okay. Yeah, because I would do ultra SCSI LVD and whatnot. So I even had some Firewire? Yeah. Yeah, well, the Firewire ones actually weren't as fast. Fiber channel. I'm sorry, fiber channel is the correct term. Yeah. Fiber optic drives. And those could go up to like 1,000, gigs a second. But they were so expensive. Linux Gnaru's got a new devil pick.
Right. Looks good.
Yes.
This is going to be our second test of our capture card. Which didn't blow up on a Saturday. Everything else blew up on a Saturday, but no capture cards were harmed. Lives were lost, friendships destroyed, but no capture cards. Well, as soon as I was hoping to do that earlier this week. I'm going to order an HDMI 3-way splitter so I can actually get some performance benchmarks to this thing and see if a $70 USB 3 capture card is worth $70. That does 1080p 60.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll be interesting. All right, let's get into it.
Yes.
Let's get that cut down and tap the pause button on that.
Hello, Steve-O.
Oh, Steve-O. Hi, Steve-O. Cool. Okay, so we got rundowns.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just reading it, and I'm like, how do I want to reword this?
Yeah, no, I just noticed I forgot the bit.
The traditional summer pastime of America's educators, playing Rocket League. All right, Jill, you ready?
Yes.
Cool.
We have speed.
And hit record. All right. We are to tape.
Yes.
That was some good chalk. That's been on there since... What do you say, Pedro?
It's been over a year, I think.
It's been like 3 years. All right. In 3, 2.
Kitty brings more bugs, a new version of Plasma, and Thunar has GTK 3'd all the things.
GitLab talks scaling, and Devuin hits stable.
We're going to talk about using Linux to bypass Verizon limits for fun and profit, followed by Microsoft failing horribly at packaging things. But hey, it's another great day for Linux, everyone. So let's go. And 3, 2. And welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where I use my NPR voice for no reason. Yeah, it's kind of that thing. This is where we sit back, relax, and talk about things going on in Linux and open source. I'm Vin Stone, joined by Jill Bryan. And over there on the far right, you'd know him. That's a Pedro Mateus.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's everybody doing, man?
Very good.
Right.
Very good.
Got anything exciting going on out in LA?
Yes. Well, Monday was our monthly community hack night meetup once again at Riot Games. And this last Monday, I taught my nephew Evan how to use Linux. That made me very happy, spreading the love of open source in my family. And I passed out lots more LGC flyers. So that's always a good thing.
LGC spams, I mean, cares. Pedro,
LGC
what's up,
cares.
man? How's Britannia?
Well, over here, I showed you last week, I was mostly done with the ThinkPad X240, if only the camera would focus. There we go. And, well, now I think I am done because I got the thin battery. So now it's a proper-looking Ultrabook with no battery sticking out. It's a bit smaller, obviously. But for the use it gets, usually this total of 48 watt-hours is more than enough. So, yeah, I'm happy with it now.
Nice. It looks beautiful, Pedro.
It does. I want to throw it into traffic. So over here, we've been doing a couple of things. This is, we tested Saturday. Just on kind of a laugh, I picked up a $60, well, it's like $69 USB 3 1080p 60 capture card that we're going to be working to stick together, hopefully a more stable system than we currently have, because Discord just kind of cut the audio quality down to, wow, that sounds like AM on a bad reception. Yeah. So we've been playing with that. And last night, as part of the hardware stuff, we got to do some software stuff, is deploying our own Jitsi instances. And Jordan, you know him from Saturday, he got, we have one instance in Atlanta spooled up, and we got it mostly working last night. Of course, we went to test it today, nothing was working right. So we're making progress. In our book, that does count as progress, but we're eventually going to get one deployed in Britannia. So everything's going to look way too professional for us. It's going to be confusing. People's like, this looks so good. How come the content's so bad? Anyway, let's get right into it with Pedro's favorite captor, Stockholm Syndrome. That's KDE, and part of that is Plasma 513, which is out.
Yes, it is. It's the new version of Plasma. It was announced yesterday, and they say they don't mention anything about fixing bugs and crashiness, but they do say that there's a new look for the lock and login screens, because yeah, that was really necessary. They redesigned the system settings. They integrated like if you have a browser running and you're playing some media, now it shows up in the media player in the notification center. You can actually see, you actually get some pause buttons that work, and progress for downloads and whatnot that shows up there. So, bringing everything into a consolidated space is a good idea. There's Discover, which is KDE's new, it's basically their attempt at a software center. It's horrible. I don't know why they would waste time with that. But
okay, seriously? KDE's doing a software? Why does everyone want to have their own software? Is that like just a natural progression of any distribution or desktop? And they're like, we need our own.
Yes, I honestly don't know. And Discover is horrible. If you've ever tried to use it, not just being slow, as most graphical interfaces for package managers tend to be.
Gnome, I'm having Gnome flashbacks of Gnome 3. It's just that, even though I know this is KDE, but
yeah.
And they also integrated the GTK global menu. So if you like to have like the menu at the top along with your panel, so it doesn't take up window space, you can do that with GTK applications out of the box now. You don't need some random packages. So that's progress, I guess. But what I would really, really like to see is them fixing those stupid KWin crashes. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, watch that stream, what I did yesterday for Doom the Roguelike, which even with that fixed camera angle 2D sprite game, it's bare bones as it is, and it was still crashing all over the place. Just please fix that, please.
One of the things that kind of interested me was the preview of the GTK global menu. I was like, oh, what's that about? That sounds fancy. And I clicked on the link. All this will be in our show notes. If you're listening to this, just head over to linuxgamecast.com, and there'll be a link if you're watching it on YouTube for the 3 people who do that. But I went to the link, and it's like, that site's broken. It's like, man, come on. Is that how experimental this feature is? I say good on KDE. It's plugging along. And, as somebody who is just diehard in the Wool XFCE4 fan, it's nice to see you guys get new versions of stuff, I guess.
Well, you say that, but in our upcoming story, you'll get a chance to talk about it. Jill, do you run KDE at all?
Yes. Well, I haven't actually run KDE Plasma in quite some time because it was so buggy. And it always had issues with running 3 monitors. So that was a thing. So I never run it. But I actually have KDE Plasma Mobile installed on one of my Nexus phones, and it runs beautifully. It runs better than the Linux desktop version.
Oh, that's where the focus is. Okay,
yeah, yes.
All right.
I love Pedro. Pedro thinks that anything that's wrong is like they're clearly targeting mobile. That's hey, let's talk about something.
Validates my opinions.
It could be XFCE. We brought that up. Thunar, that's the file manager, if you know that. It's a pretty slick piece of kit. With this, they're moving everything over to GTK3. And you're like, hasn't that been the case for years? And I'm like, yes, it has. And trust me, you might want to put some money down in Space Vegas about whether or not they will get everything rolled out to the GTK3 before GTK4 comes out. And actually, because it becomes a thing, but they updated the menus, kind of. I mean, with, what is this, 1.8, you'll notice that you have a little set where you can dive in and pull back out, and you have a home, back, forward, up button, which is also present in older versions like 1.6. So it's good to see that's catching back up to parity. What do we got?
They, besides the redesigned path bar, it's the full GTK3 support. And if you're using plugins for Thunar and you want to test out a new version, you're probably going to run into issues because the new API is GTK3 based, obviously.
Right, but a lot of stuff is. I mean, if you're going to be doing that, I mean, you need to, I think they make it a point, you make sure that you update all of your plugins, and you'll need to update XF Desktop.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's basically update everything around it so you get all the functionality back, as it were.
That is kind of my unicorn, because, you know, 4.13, I'm using 4.12. 4.13 of XFC is not an official release. It's something that you can build. There's been like 2 or 3 times where it's been an afternoon. I was like, this time I'm not going to stop until I get everything put in. It's like, I just tap out. I'm like, I can't do it, man. Come on, XFC. Remember back in like the early 2000s, they had a nice little GUI thing, which I don't need GUI. Just give me a script that would pull everything in order and build it in order. And it's always some random package that is an outdated version that I don't want to mess with. But I do like XFC, and it's good to see them making progress, and I hope to see 4.14 before the eventual heat death of the universe.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So, speaking of heat death of the universe, something that you may never have considered was something we talked about last week, which was Microsoft acquiring GitHub.
Nope.
And one of the bits...
It never happened, Pedro. That was fake news.
Yeah.
This is la, 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 la.
And one of the things that resulted from said acquisition was a ton of projects moving to GitLab. And Data Center Knowledge got in touch with the GitLab folks and said, okay, so give us a rundown. What did you run into? And, well, it was a bad time for GitLab because they were right in the middle of moving. They were migrating from Azure, yes, irony, to Google Cloud. And it was like, okay, we're smack in the middle of the migration, and all of a sudden we have 15,000 new projects that want to be hosted by GitLab. Yeah, that will cause some issues, but thankfully, thanks in part to the systems that they had already migrated to Google Cloud Services, that brought Kubernetes into the picture, which means scaling all of a sudden becomes much easier and much more well integrated because, hey, look, Google created Kubernetes specifically for scaling, and seeing that that jump in traffic and projects wanting to be hosted by them, I'm guessing that helped a lot with testing the Kubernetes scaling feature, and it's good to see that they managed to not only do it, but hold on. There was a teeny tiny little bit of downtime, as is to be expected, but they succeeded, and yeah, now they're up and running.
It's very impressive that in the middle of all that, they're like, we want more people, because we talked about last week, they're making the educational programs gratis. And they said, bring it. That's the equivalent of like letting Netflix's Chaos Monkey loose in your system. You're just
yeah,
having fun with it.
Yeah, what I was so impressed about this was, and didn't really know that GitLab is a remote only company. They don't have a physical business anywhere. It's all the office is powered by virtual machines, and it's amazing that you can do that today in today's day. And I just assumed that GitLab would have had an office like GitHub does, but But no, it's all done remote. It's amazing.
Like genuinely puzzles me. I know Pedro and I have talked about this on our gaming show on Saturday. Is you remember when Humble was having some layoffs?
Yeah.
And like, why did they have that many employees? Why was it located in San Francisco? So it's good to see stuff like this. Having, you know, as we do this show virtually, we don't have an office.
Yeah.
So. It's Ven's basement. Ven's basement is
literally my basement is our office. Good on GitLab. I think they're batting 1,000 right now, and
yes,
use what you want, because up next we got to mention it real quick. You know, this is the Linux Foundation's reaction to Microsoft buying GitHub. Full disclosure, which I really should have been at the top, was Microsoft is one of their platinum sponsors. I'm not saying that tinted anything, but it doesn't, you know, they're just like, everything's cool. I mean, I'm not going to sit and read this wall of text, but they're like, don't worry. And the dude from, what was it? He was from GNOME, right, Jill?
Yes. Yeah, he's the new CEO of, I am forgetting his name. I put that. Okay. But anyways, yes, the new CEO of GitHub is one of the co-founders of GNOME. Nat Friedman. Oh, Nat Friedman. So, but anyways, I really, Jim Zemlin brought up a really good point here that we have been talking about for the last month or so, since Microsoft has been very active in the open source community. And I really liked his comment. He states, Jim Zemlin of CEO of the Linux Foundation states that buying GitHub does not mean Microsoft has engaged in some sinister plot to own the more than 70 million open source projects on GitHub. Most of the important projects on GitHub are licensed under an open source license, which addresses intellectual property ownership. And as we have stated, again, as we have talked about in the last few months, our Penguin Army marches on, and Microsoft cannot change the GNU General Public License or the laws that protect it. So our operating system is protected.
We do have some comments coming up in the feedback section at the end of the show, which brings up a good point that we'll get into then, because I don't want to spoil show content. Yeah. Camps just got split, Pedro. I mean, it's going to be GitLab and GitHub. And I'm going to say this. I try to make it a point to watch everyone's coverage on this, you know, basically just doing Google searches on, well, YouTube searches, same difference, about people talking about. And there was one show and said, do you know why everyone left after Microsoft bought it? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe this person's going to tell me. He's like, yeah, all the Xbox simulators. That's the reason everyone.
Oh, yes.
They're going to shut them down.
And I was like, what?
I was like, what?
There were tens of thousands of Xbox simulation programs. Oh, okay. I don't think you nailed that one.
The gist of the article that the Linux Foundation put out is, yes, Microsoft is going to bring more money, and more money coming into open source development is good. And yes, it is good. Open source development needs that little bit of funding. But, and even though Microsoft has been making a lot of money over the past few decades, it's still Microsoft we're talking about. They are the people who have...
At this point, man, Microsoft is like government. There's not a single head to take it down. There's sections that operate independently, and there's divisions inside Microsoft that genuinely don't even know other divisions exist. So that's not in defense, because that could also be a negative thing, because you could still have somebody going after something. And, you know, what about the whole Android licensing situation stuff? I mean, that is that. Who here loves System D?
Love is a strong word. I will tolerate it.
Hey, man. Okay. Dev1, that's the correct way to pronounce it, Pedro, or whoever messed with it's a fork Debian. Red Hat, they came out with the System D, and they're like, no. And a lot of people, you know, just lost it over this. But this is basically 3264 PCs. Specialized ARM images are available for this. It works on Chromebooks, phones, mobiles. droids and all that. But they're happy to release 2 point not stable. And some people are happy with it. Here's what I wanted to ask everyone is,
Mhm.
do you think the hatred towards System D is enough to actively seek out and run something still using init scripts? Because, you know, it's good that there are System D free distros out there. You know, support them if you care. That's the thing. 100%. No problem with that. Personally, you know, I don't live in that fantasy world where init startup scripts were not a hot mess, because they were. I haven't had any problems with it running the Ubuntu, not by choice, but that's what we got to run on this production box. And okay, this is not a hill I ever thought about dying on one way or the other. You know, it's like, yeah, whatever.
It's not like mainstream hate. There's not a ton of people that hate System D, but the creator, Leonard Pottering, he hasn't exactly ingratiated himself to the Linux community in the past. Mostly not due so much to the projects, but due to some things he said and some of his opinions. And some people really don't like him. So anything he creates ends up being adopted en masse. System D, Pulse Audio, you know, is like the devil's omen, and some people just steer clear of that. I honestly, I've learned to deal with System D. It's it is slowly turning into svchost.exe. If you ever had to manage a Windows system, it's turning into that. It's just ubiquitous. It hosts everything. But that may not be a bad thing until a better alternative comes around.
Well, I don't know, man. This kind of feels like you're going to get the D whether or not you want it. Eventually.
Yeah.
You know, you're definitely going to have the people still riding around on their fixies, but you know, everyone else might modernize. Do you have opinions one way or the other on this, Jill?
Oh yes. I'm really happy actually. It's Dev1 is around. It's nice to have continued support of an unbloated init distro, and of course Slackware is as well. And I was actually happy when Debian development split because of System Z, so that we continue both the core philosophy of Linux and that of a more unified one, and ultimately see what changes it would make, good or bad, to our favorite operating system. So I think it was good that we split it, you know, to be able to test, you know, which way worked and which way didn't, and see which one was better. And Debian being the Swiss Army knife of all the Linux distros, which supports every architecture, both modern and vintage, and it's important to keep it as lightweight and flexible as possible. And System D is a little bloated, and it's better actually to run the non-System D on older hardware. So that's definitely a thing.
There are people who really enjoy their old hardware.
Yes.
Old hoarders.
Well, it's also good for embedded systems, and say for NASA for their embedded systems. So there's a lot of use cases where you need, you know, the smaller init. As
what about for like companies that actually launch rockets, like SpaceX? What do they use?
They're actually they use. Yeah, they have Debian and Space Shuttle Linux. So Space Shuttle is actually non-System D. So right now, but that might change.
That's right, you heard it here. SpaceX doesn't like the D. Coming soon, something that has artists interested that also have some love for open source and Linux, and that's Wacom.
Yes, this is an awesome, wonderful article, and Red Hat does it again, and they just released native Wacom firmware update support in Linux via a GUI and or terminal, and it is really wonderful. We talked about this last week with Linux support of the large screen Dell Canvas and Totem, and this is huge. it helps further proving that Linux adoption in the art, animation, and gaming industries is growing by leaps and bounds, and this proves it. Having Wacom support, I never thought this would happen in 20 years using Wacom tablets. So and my students use them at my work, and it's really awesome. Red Hat has done it again. Yeah. And the interesting thing, and I was thinking about a little bit, is especially a lot of the art and animation packages are RPM based. So it would be natural that Red Hat would do the drivers first for these. Like Maya is RPM based, and Modo and some of the other animation.
Yeah, basically prosumer and professional grade stuff is targeted towards CentOS because, exactly. And hey, the movie industry runs on Linux. CentOS. Right, there you go. Good shot on that. So I know there was some basic support for Wacom. Is this going to give us everything, or that?
Well, it's going to give us firmware updates, which admittedly were a bit lacking if you wanted to upgrade your firmware on your Wacom tablet, whichever one you got. And they are rather everywhere if you're surrounded by people who like to do digital art. Every single one of them has a Wacom tablet, smaller one, bigger one, they all have them. And yeah, those firmware updates, they help a lot. So it's good to see FWUPD is moving on from the whole System 76 debacle a couple of weeks back, and they're actually doing something useful and providing much needed support for firmware upgrades to the Wacom tablets.
100%. I mean, it's good to see. We were talking last week about the Canvas.
Oh, this one, the firmware on this controller was updated with FWUPD. So, yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Hipster pixel graphics can now be made from the console, Joe.
Yes. This is a pixel art editor inside the terminal, written in Bash with no mouse required. You use your arrow keys on the keyboard to draw, like we used to do back in the ANSI art days of bulletin board systems. So this made me very happy, because I used to create artwork this way on the BBSs and early animation. Even before we were using mice, I used to use the arrow keys and WASD. And it's really neat because it'll allow up to 256 colors, and the brushes are actually characters on the keyboard. So that's actually really fun. And PNG support is not available yet, but it will be coming. But all you have to do is save the file in the program and use cat in terminal to view it. So that was an ingenious way to do that. I love it. I love the cat
I'm digging
command.
this, that it's like, hey, fast. This is 150 lines of pure bash. That's a selling point somehow.
Yes.
Is this just something to play around with, or is this practical in any way?
Well, it would be good if you're launching a new BBS. Make some ANSI art. Or doing actually, it's really good for doing icons. I made a little penguin picture with it. I had fun with it.
Okay. You'd think in 2018 they'd at least have some mouse input. Which they don't. I tried.
Yes.
Oh, are you helpless when somebody removes your gerbil from you? Like, no,
not necessarily. But it's 2018, current year argument. So yeah.
Hey man, listen, I know keyboard shortcuts because I'm lazy.
Yeah, I learned how to draw on the computer before we had mice and before we had Wacom tablets.
All right. Coming up next, a fun little life hack I ran across. This is more about a way to do this with the Linux. And, you say you get an unlimited plan and like, hey, it's completely unlimited. Use as much as you want. Oh, you use too much, so we're going to have to throttle you down to like 0.08 megabits and something like that. But this is a handy little life hack from a fellow Linux human. This is from R-Linux on the Reddits. Basically, you can set up an SSH server in Termux and use it as a SOX proxy. I mean, it works. And what it does is it's going to trick your mobile into thinking this is data coming from an app installed on it versus, your standard HTTPS traffic. So, the hotspot app's like, oh, this is an app, whatever. And it's just going to give you your full data bandwidth. Now, another hack. I was reading through this, and that you can do at home for fun and profit. I mean, to experiment with. We're not endorsing doing any of this because I don't know where this falls in like some gray area. Is if you have like throttling issues on mobile networks, like 4G deployments for internet is not an uncommon thing in rural areas.
Yeah.
But simply by increasing your TTLs on the PC, you can get around most of them. And I'm looking at you, AT&T, and what is the other one? There's another like stupid cheap one that offers unlimited, but you can set it to like a value of 64 or something like that. And no more throttling. It's magic, which is horrible that you would ever have to hack your way into getting what you're paying for. Question mark? I don't know.
Yeah. So, since we haven't really talked about Microsoft at all.
Wait a minute. Look at you. No, this is our new segment, Pedro. Look, I made a graphic just for this.
Aww, but Ben, we've already done a Microsoft segment.
That wasn't a Microsoft segment.
No, no.
This is an official one.
Right.
And this one, well, it starts off this week with the wine packs. And what are wine packs? Well, they're flat packs designed to run wine applications. So you may remember a while back we talked about a story of a certain flat pack making it to a certain website that may or may not deal in pirated games.
What Pedro's trying to say is there's some pirated Linux games in Flatpak on Pirate Bay.
Well, a wine game in a flat pack that was designed to run on Linux. And I'm really glad to see that something good came out of it, because here we go. We have wine packs, which it integrates, according to them, it integrates with your desktop. So if you have it installed and you search for, say, Path of Exile, like they use in the example, it will download it and will set up the flat pack, which is great for those free-to-play MMOs and whatnots. We'll just set them up and you're good to go. It's a flat pack, so you know it's probably most likely going to run reliably unless you have some serious issues with your box.
What this does is it makes it, I mean, we're not talking about games. You can just use games as a good example, or desktop applications, because wine is a moving target. That is why we're very much against any developers like, hey guys, would targeting wine, just making a wine version of the game? Like, don't. You do not want to support that. No. But this takes care of all that, right, Pedro? I mean,
It does, because it includes its own version of wine, and it's self-contained. So that will work reliably as long as that particular wine version runs in whatever operating system you're running that flat pack off of. It will still work. So, yeah.
So you don't have to worry about different wine bottles or anything set up like that. It's either in or it's out. You want to install it, boom, there's the thing.
It's either in the flat pack or it's not, and it doesn't work.
Right on. What do you think, Jill?
Yeah, well, it's nice to have them self-contained, but all the games that are already available as wine packs, which is Overwatch, WoW, League of Legends, World of Tanks, and as Pedro mentioned, Path of Exile, you can already use our very own Strider, Matthew Commandon's Lutris application to install these. Install these at lutris.net. And of course, Lutris is the open gaming platform for Linux that will run all the things.
I like the idea of it being a platform, because I don't know what that is, but it sounds hot. This might be something Lutris could integrate. That's
exactly, yeah.
Because I mean, you think of it like I think of Lutris as the Borg. It's like you will all be assimilated.
Yeah,
it is a beautiful.
If Strider had enough
thing.
free time during the day, it would be.
So real quick, Microsoft kind of backed off on this. GNOME beat Microsoft. See, you can't find a way to make that negative against GNOME, Pedro, with your lust for that. You could try. Get Virtual File System to get a new name. Redmond asked for your help to rename its version of GVFS. And I'm just going to say this. If it's not Get Virtual File, Get Virtual File Face, the internet's going to know it's been lied to, Microsoft. So don't
get it, but get face. There.
Yes.
That's racist, man. Come on. I didn't really want to go into this. I just thought this was fun. And it's like good on Redmond to avoid that confusion.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Again, especially since the CEO of GitHub, Nat Friedman, is the co-founder of GNOME.
mhm.
We shouldn't get those confused.
Yeah, and this is goodwill though, Microsoft. Redmond, this is goodwill going. Okay, let's not be smitey about this. And
It's we just bought GitHub. Let's give him a little bit of something. Just keep him happy. Well, slightly less peed off at us.
so that's a love and embrace from Microsoft. So let's make fun of them a little bit.
Yeah.
yes, let's. So someone from what's his name? Pre-ining? Well, the blog preining.info has a little bit of an article posted by, there we go, Norbert Preining, and he wrote, it's like, okay, so I have this Microsoft OpenR deb file that Microsoft created, and he says that Microsoft loves Linux, but not Debian. And one of the things that it does, like Fen is highlighting there, is that Debian is just not checking to see which version you're actually trying to install and if it's deleting a previous version of that same package. No, it just deletes the previous version of R if you happen to have it installed, whatever the case may be. So it's there, like that. There are many other examples. He actually has a pretty good post just to show you with all the code. And the other thing is, I think personally to me, this is the most egregious one. They remove bash, they remove sh, and they symlink it against bash. What? What?
Don't worry about it. Strider just pointed out that they fixed that weapons grade level of stupidity.
Yes.
So I say good on that, but that danger, Will Robinson, when you're putting that business together. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, you want to have some fun, kind of like, stupid Microsoft. But there has to be at least one half of 1%. You're like, well, at least they're trying. I mean, yes, it's a colossal cock up, but an effort was made. You know, don't blame on what maliciousness, what can easily be explained by stupidity.
Hanlon's razor does very much apply in this case. It's just, to me, Microsoft cocking up a packaging system is nothing new. We've all seen what happened when Microsoft attempted to do a centralized store for Windows 8. Remember that? Yeah, that didn't go so well. And they pushed it again with Windows 10. How many games are on the Windows Store? Yeah, not a whole lot, are they?
Well, you can finish that sentence with now versus will there be in the future, because
maybe they'll get it right in the future.
Oh, they're going to honestly try to, everybody's trying to lock it in, man. So I think that's going to help. I mean, Microsoft really wants everything. Now, here's a thought experiment for people who have to support Windows users, and we're talking about friends and family, aunts and uncles, grandparents. Okay, Pedro, you have a finger. Good.
Yeah, no, I support people on Windows. That's my job.
Here's the thing. I mean, having a locked-in app store, because there is a version of Windows. What is it, like Windows Short Bus Edition?
That they already canceled. Yeah,
that wasn't a bad idea. That was almost a grandma or grandpa proof not Linux, Windows, because you got to get everything from the App Store. I'm not against that for a certain type of person. That's the
kind of person who uses iPhones. It's there you go. It's got a store. That's where you get your software. There, done.
Keeps them safe, man. Keeps them safe. Hey, we need to thank some people, Pedro, because you know what? Making this show, unfortunately, cost like a little more than Trividi.
A little more, yes. So thank you all very, very much. Your continued support, those people who have already clicked to linuxgamecast.com and the support button, they have found many different ways to support us. There's Amazon affiliate links, Newegg affiliate links. There's an Amazon wish list if you'd like to help Ven with the costs for the prototype
man.
studio.
You can help hack things, man. You can donate some
Yeah.
much needed hardware. We want to thank everybody shopping through our affiliate links, especially the Amazon. You guys are blowing that up in the humble stuff. Almost $200 now we've raised for charity through that. You guys have.
Awesome.
We're
That's
helping
amazing.
charity. You guys are helping charity. That's insane.
No, well, I mean, this show, yeah, a Saturday should be like, wait, what? Anyway,
But
we need to thank
our very own special brand of crazy are the lovely, lovely Patreons. We have 117 of them, giving us 256 wet stinky cashes a week.
making it possible.
Yeah, thank you all very, very
Yeah.
much. And we have three new Patreons to thank this week. Bithir, Yosef B, and Wintercell. Welcome one,
Yay.
welcome
Yay.
all, very, very much.
Bertha,
Awesome.
Yosef, and Vintasell. You get some stuff if you're a patron. If you want to kick us in like that, we're asking like 4 quarters a week if you could swing it. We do have some new things that we've thrown in. We don't put stuff that exists behind paywalls. Some people do that. We're just adding some more stuff. You know, a couple extra bonuses. LGC minus LGC is our live stream minus the show. So you get 2 hours of us doing improv comedy ? You get access to our pre super shows and some video versions of that, and the regular. I mean, you have your own RSS feed, so that's just for you. You can throw it in if you want a lot of us. The pre super shows is our production meeting every week, where we do talk occasionally about what's going on in the show, but mostly we discuss movies and TV shows and pretend to be professional right before the end. But thanks everyone for making that possible. You do get access to the lounge, our little hidden area. I'll show everyone. It's our Discord. It's kind of brilliant. You can come hang out in there. It's a really, really chill place and has some very interesting parallel conversations going on sometimes.
Yes.
Once everyone, it's I think a good example of people, you know, kind of ribbing each other very, very politely, almost to a confusing way. So thanks again, everyone. Everyone's awesome for doing that.
Yay, chat realm.
Let's get into one little slice of pie before we get into the feedback.
Yeah.
And this one's all Jill. Jill, tell us about it.
Yes. Yeah. This is awesome. This is a fully open source Raspberry Pi synthesizer called Zintian. And it's an open platform for sound synthesis. And the company has lots of kits that you can buy that range from 250 pounds and up, and include all the parts you need to build the synthesizer. The case, the Raspberry Pi, the sound card, and all the knobs and bips and bobs. And one of the things about this that I was really thought was really, really cool is that it uses MIDI over IP using a web interface. So if you want to communicate with other synthesizers, you have that ability to do so. And it uses jack audio, which is really awesome. And it uses a lot of our favorite Linux music apps like Zinad, SubFX, Fluid Synth, Dext, Noise, and Noisemaker. And these apps, you know, were sometimes a little buggy and crashy back in the day, but they've really, really come a long way. And so much so that now it's wonderful seeing them being used professionally in this arena, and it will help the much needed adoption of Linux in the music industry, because that's an area that we haven't really penetrated yet.
Which is the thing.
Yeah.
It looks neat. It looks like a very solid piece of kit to put together. It's not the cheapest thing in the world if you're going to be parting it out. But as I've learned, setting our nightmare solution up, even with my infinite cheapness and buying stuff used and secondhand and all that, it's still pricey. I like that. The IP, MIDI over IP, that's an interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's one way to get around the latency, because it's just.
Well,
so,
and being able to do multi-track with the synthesizers and create a modular, system. So this is actually so inexpensive. I mean, most synthesizers are in the thousands. So this is a big deal.
Then you got hipsters. they want like Korgs and stuff like from the old times. They don't want anything digital. Jack's interesting to set up. I'll tell you one thing. If you're thinking about doing anything with audio on Jack, take it from your friendly old man, Vin. don't do it unless you have a dedicated box.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be doing, because Jack is a sketchy, finicky, don't look at it wrong system. It's perfectly usable, but you really want dedicated hardware for that with a low latency kernel.
Yeah.
And this entire story, that video, is better to be watched if you're humming Flock of Seagulls. So that kind of works out. Pedro, we got a little bit of feedback coming up next.
Yes, we do. And if you too have some feedback for us, maybe we said something you don't agree with, maybe we said something you agree with, but you'd like to add some more, well, by all means, linuxgamecast.com, contact button, make sure to pick
I refuse to believe
LWDW.
anybody agrees with us.
Not too long ago, I would have agreed with you,
Listen,
but considering
I
all
think what
the
you're
lovely
witnessing is,
support-
you know how you have like that a great uncle or grandparent that you just agree with just to get it over with. You're like, yeah, 100%.
Everyone has that particular family member. I know I do. But maybe we are that particular family member for you, and you'd like to educate us in the only way you can, by screaming at us over the internet. So go to linuxgamecast.com, hit the contact button, LWDW, just fill out the form. It's really easy, and we will be more than happy to answer your question right here, right now, or to take on board your feedback, or, maybe call you out on it because reasons.
Coming up first this week from Rando. That's not a Rando. This is the Rando, the first Rando on the internet, ARPANET, man, going way back in the day. Making backups before Ubuntu upgrades. We were talking about this last week. I pulled the trigger on putting our production box on 1804. Writes in, says, I've used Deja Dupe. It's built in and have been happy restoring from this since Ubuntu 12.04. Solid advice to back up before any major changes. Thanks for the show. And yeah, man, I looked into it. It's like, Deja Dupe, what's that? I was like, oh, all right. That's kind of neat. Yeah, everyone use that because it even supports offsite. The kids call it cloud backup. Or use what I just have something. I mean, listen, I rsync.
Yeah.
rsync is just reliable.
Yeah.
You know what to expect from it. But yeah, Deja Dupe, the one time I felt compelled to try it because I didn't actually need to do it. It's just, okay, I want to see if it works and if the restore is actually functional. It is. It's actually really nice to see.
That's pretty cool. And hey, let us know. Like, send us some information. Use that contact form if you have like a Rube Goldberg backup solution that works. Those are always fascinating to read about. And trust me, I've had some in my time. I mean, the fact that I have incremental rsync backups, like what have you done? Like 20 years ago, I came up and smacked myself. That's too much adulting for you, sir. And walked off. Jill,
I make 3 backups of everything. It's what I teach my students. You have to have 3 backups of everything. Have 1 cloud-based and 2 local, whether it be on flash drive or CDs or disk or
64 gigabyte flash drive. Yeah, it's your friend.
Because inevitably you will lose something and need that backup. And sometimes the backup of the backup isn't just good enough. So you need the 3rd backup.
And always have a bootable USB stick with Linux on it. Hanging on your keychain.
Always.
Listen to me. Put it on your keychain. And you're going to like, man, I can't find it. My one box is down. I can't do any. Wait a minute. That's right. I was told to put it on the keychain. And it's still going to be on the keychain unless I move at your house because I'm going to move it. Okay. What do we got next, Jill? Ozzy?
Oh, yeah. So this is Ozzy. If Microsoft really cared about open standards, they would have opened the Microsoft document formats. I deal with that hell every single day. Yes, I agree. But I don't know if Microsoft will ever open it up because, well, they support Open Office document format now. So, well, mostly.
They begrudgingly support it. You can tell that very begrudgingly because the moment you pick like the open document format, it says, but this advanced functionality that we can only get with the XML, it won't work.
I think it's very accurate to say Microsoft only plays nice in areas that it doesn't have people locked in. If it's got
exactly.
Office is a place where it's like, you know what? We're still number one.
Yeah,
Microsoft
they're making money
Office
off their
rules.
Like dying of fire. We're not going to
365.
open that up.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's some things that needs to change. Like I wouldn't give Microsoft a complete 100% pass, but if you would give me like 4X version of Skype before Microsoft bought it, so don't come in and like, but it's got our secret sauce. Man, you can keep whatever secret sauce you put in recent versions of Skype because
just give us the 4.0 sauce.
Just give us the client server code for that and completely open up the Silk codec. And then we'll be talking. Open up the doc format complete or an Excel, because those are nightmares to deal with. Not for your basic stuff, because I know somebody sitting at home. I've never had a problem. Feed it some complex Excel with some macros in it and watch it die in a fire.
Proper spreadsheet, like a 5-page long spreadsheet with interconnected functions and macros. That's just it's fun to watch. OpenOffice spreadsheet just. LibreOffice spreadsheet. Just
Star Office, man, you heathen.
IBM Lotus Symphony Office.
Yeah.
WordPerfect. I think WordPerfect came on Red Hat disk, didn't it?
Yeah,
Phil? Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, some RPMs on
it
there.
did, and Corel. It was Corel WordPerfect.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like Red Hat 5 and after somewhere. And it was on the extras. Anyway, we're done being old. That's going to do it for this week. Thanks everyone for showing up, and we'll see you next week because we got to roll some credits and thank some people.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Look, I'm prepared. Boom.
Yay.
All the lovely, lovely people.
Hey man, that was a fun show. We got in and out
Pedro
under
fan
50
Mateus.
minutes. Pedro does have some clicking in your audio chain. I noticed that on the live stream yesterday, so that's on your end.
All right.
Oh.
Clicking.
Yeah, it's
pop. A little bit.
Yep, fix it.
Okay, I'll have to figure out where it's coming from then.
You know, I mean, you could go outside and pet the grass and see if that works. But yeah, I would go your route. You sound like you have the better route there.
Yeah.
See, I call this one hard mode.
Mark. good job, Ben.
What's the name of that one? Is FU Slider.
Bye, chat room.
See you next week.
Bye, chat room.
Boom. And we're out. What? I'm not going to make it easy.
Oh, yay!
Just a Unicode error character. There we go.
I was excited because I found a Unicode thing for exploding hamburgers, and I really wanted to show it off, and it didn't work. So. Let's see, Maddie. What is Project Bifrost? I think I still have. Boop. That's Project Bifrost. That's a wicked, hella wicked. I had to get special permission to use those two words in the same sentence. Hella wicked, oversimplified edition of a hardware setup that we're experimenting with. So
yay! And everything was working really good today.
Well,
there was a few little.
I mean, if it catches fire now, that's fine.
yeah.
See, Pedro says this, but no, don't catch fire because I still have to spend like 2 hours turning this into a show.
Yeah.
Okay, let the box not catch fire then.
But Jitsi was behaving a lot better. It had some freezes, but otherwise it was really nice.
Yeah, once we get the ours rolled back out, the connectivity is not going to be. It's going to be stable. That's the one thing we need.
Yeah.
That's the reason. Jordan and I were talking about this last night about getting everything set up, is because it's a weird balancing act of, because I'm a huge fan of single point of failure.
Yeah.
And that's why I've stuck together a Tipsy Danger. You know, everything's tied into the box. But then you start, we're at a point now of diminishing return. Once you add the 7th DAC to a box.
Oh look, all but one of my USB ports are being used for DACs.
Pedro, how about all of those plus 2 USB hubs full? You get to a point of diminishing returns, and then you have cascade failures. It's just it'll run down, and I want to build at least one of those little Nook boxes and set that up just to test it to get, because that's going to take 2 of our DACs off. That's going to take like, usually use Pedro as a guinea pig, and that's going to take his XLR DAC plus his return DAC off. It's going to be on that box by itself, and if we can get, because SSD's now $35 for 100. What weird moon future are we living in? I was like, what?
Yes.
All right. So, because I was like, oh, we'll just put a hard drive, a laptop hard drive 2.5 in there. And I was like, wait a minute. You get an SSD?
$35?
Then we get talking, because these boxes are dumbed down. These are not the absolute base level Nooks, but they're the Nooks that have enough juice to run WebRTC at, 720p, 60 without dropping frames. That is going to be set up as a butter robot. All it's going to do is it's going to boot, it's going to launch Chrome, or it's going to launch Firefox, and it's going to go to one website, which is our Bifrost server. Here's the thing. Now, if we ever lose connection during a show, this is the reason I think this is going to make sense, is I'll be able to reach over and just reboot the thing 15 seconds later.
Yeah, it's fixed.
We don't have to go, whoop, all right, stop the show.
Yeah.
And do all that.
Exactly.
Then it takes everything from a single point of failure where I'm trying to juggle this versus just reaching over and giving a quick reset.
Matthew, that's awesome.
Strider just gave up when he went back to episode 120.
Yep.
Yes.
Can't deal with it. I think we were joking around in the previous Super Shows, and it was like, oh yeah, why don't you do a thing where if somebody puts together a Bifrost box, it's like you can pick what distribution is installed on it. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the Arch Bifrost and the Manjaro Bifrost.
Listen, man, I don't need that special brand of hell in my life. So just give us time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get all this together in probably the next 2 or 3 months, because that's kind of the way we do things. We don't we don't buy stuff on credit. We buy what we can afford. Keeps us humble and realistic, and we can sleep at night.
Yep.
With all the bills paid. So
Yeah, Linux Guru, I guess it's 5 dudes and a dudette.
what are you talking about? It can be 5 dudes.
I'm one of the guys, so that's okay too.
Considering how many
hang on. I'm going to argue the
have.
fact that dude is gender neutral in 2018. I mean,
Okay, very good.
If you're going to be throwing down that dude is like, no, that implies
Yeah.
gender, I'm like, you're trying to pick an argument. That's what you're trying to
Oh, okay.
But, considering how many Linux Chicks LA we have, we can have the
Yeah.
5 dudettes.
Yes! Yay! Yeah, you're right. You are right, Ven and Jordan. Dude is gender neutral. Ven calls me dude, so I guess I shouldn't be.
do. I call everyone dude, man. I don't care. I mean, that's like on you. I personally don't care how many chromosomes anyone has.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect me in one way or the other. And more power to whatever. I can't pretend. I'm like, oh, that concerns me. It doesn't.
I got called out for calling Nathan dude at work. I can't remember what he said, but it's like, dude!
Did he
Dude,
take off his heels and
really?
beat you with them?
What is this?
Well, I guess you guys got to understand that I was using dude in the 70s, and in the surf terms, that meant a guy. so for me, it was like the dude was the guy, but it's changed meaning over the years.
Oh man, a time when you could say
Ask my
cowabunga
brother.
non-ironically.
Yeah.
Stupid Ninja Turtles messing that up forever.
Yep, that was the end of that.
Oh, cool. Jellybean's using the Star Trek changeling icon avatar now. Awesome. Yeah, so even my brother calls me a dudette. But I don't mind dude.
That would require a significant restructuring of the English language, but I agree.
Yeah.
I know in the Spanish language, what is it? The suffix "ita" implies a female gender, or
Yes.
Yeah. Well, just
And,
like in German,
most Latin languages, current day, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, they all have gendered nouns, even just like water. Water is, in Portuguese, in Spanish, it's female.
Yeah.
So yeah, changing those languages, that's going to be an ordeal.
Yeah, definitely.
I say, man, as long as you understand what someone's saying, and I mean that, because you will run up against the people looking, their life is going so well, they are looking for something nitpicky like that to have an argument about, and my advice is just keep walking.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, sorry, I got real problems to deal with. Oh, man. But yeah, I learned about the ETA thing the hard way because they had a 20-pack of Coronas at the grocery for stupid cheap. And I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to pick up a 20-pack. It's been years ago. And got home. They were like that big.
Yeah.
They were Vern Troyer-sized Coronas. And I was like, oh, wait, type this in. And it's like, oh, that's how I know that. Because of alcohol. Thanks, booze. Both a solution to and the problem and solution to Star Trek Universal Translator.
Yes.
Google tried to make that, man.
Yeah. And so true, empty. Yeah, definitely. I agree with Jordan. That's awesome. Today's day.
Yeah. But yeah, as someone who grew up on a language where every single
Yeah.
name, pronoun, whatever has a gender, it's okay. It's going to take some getting used to.
Didn't you notice a 20? I honestly, that's not enough weight to my brain, that part of my brain to kick in a 20-pack of something, because that's something like you grab with 2 fingers on your way by, and you're like, I'll take one of those. All right, I'm gonna refill. We'll hang out for let's say about another 10 minutes, and
Okay.
we will call it a day.
Yes. Yeah, 20-pack of beer, just very light. Nah, just gonna go home. Oh, they're like hotel bar beers. Right.
Oh yeah, Jordan, and I will get some people organized for Gauntlet for tomorrow, our stream tomorrow. That's the we're gonna play the Starship simulator tomorrow, Gauntlet. So it's gonna be a challenge. So we gotta set up a return video and everything for everyone.
Steve, the thing with coming from a Latin language to a Germanic / Celtic / Latin / whatever language English is nowadays, it's, oh, there's like 3 verbal tenses? Okay, I'll take it. I will take it.
Oh, awesome, Jordan. Sandy's gonna be back. Yay! Yay! I can do a stream with Sandy. And thank you
We
again
can
for
have
asking
the
me.
extra dose of Canadian.
Yeah. Awesome. So I think we have Patrick, Mir. Oh, wonderful, Evan, you're using Puppy Linux. Yay, I'm so proud. Yay.
The T42 is running Puppy Linux still.
Awesome.
It's
We
just,
love Puppy.
yeah, it runs so fast.
Yeah.
Even LXD runs slow on that machine because, you know, Pentium M.
Yeah, because
But
yeah.
Puppy is just,
Ubuntu.
oh, you have 2 gigs of RAM? Okay, I'll just use like 512 megs and load everything there. Ooh.
Oh, I guess Patrick isn't going to be able to join us. Nor is Mr. Alert. Jordan, I talked to Alan, and he's not going to be able to make it either. So maybe Empty can come back on Thursday for the stream. So we have 4 people, at least.
Yeah, French also has the gendered names.
Hmm. Yeah, Ben, I'm so excited. My nephew Evan is using Puppy Linux right now. Yeah.
On purpose?
Yes.
Puppy Linux. Wow, that's old school.
Oh, it runs great on the old netbooks, and Pedro's still using it too. And I have it on several of my EPCs. Yeah. Do you have the Slackware version installed or the Debian one, Pedro?
None. Just regular Puppy.
Oh, well, yeah, they have two different versions.
Jill, the answer to that is whatever the default option is. That's
it's probably Slackware.
I remember they introduced the Ubuntu/Debian compatible version a couple of years back.
Yeah, they did, but the base one is Slackware.
Oh, okay, so it is Slackware.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it uses PKG.
Yeah.
Let's see. Did we get any show title suggestions? Let's see. Chill Place.
Knowing Shet Realm.
You Strider. You're gonna get the D. Pedro has a finger.
Ben's Basement.
Gonna give that one a vote.
Yes, you Strider. You Strider. Yes. Yeah, I like you Strider.
Well, you can vote on it at vote.linuxgamecast.com.
Yeah, Evan, go vote on your favorite show title. I gotta do that myself, I guess.
Oh, what is this delectable nightmare fuel? Do people still watch My Little Pony? I know that was a thing for like 30-year-olds for a while.
I don't know. The first 2 seasons are available on YouTube. Every now and then, YouTube likes to recommend that particular playlist to me.
It sounds like something you'd watch.
To be fair, Netflix at this point has just given up for me. It's like, oh, you like anime? Here you go. Here's all the anime we have.
One of my hobbies is trying to find watchable anime on Netflix.
I finished Ajin. If it weren't for the 3D CGI crap, it wouldn't be terrible. Yeah, everything is 3D CGI crap. So
I couldn't watch Batman Ninja or Batman Samurai. Is it Batman?
Yeah,
it's Batman Ninja. I can't get over the animation style. I don't like it. It looks like a Borderlands.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh, Maddie, I'm so happy you came into LWW stream. You have before in the past too.
Yep. Devilman Crybabies. Probably the last thing I watched that I was like, this isn't complete shite. I'd watch that again.
Yeah, Nicole said she stopped at season 4. Yeah, I've stopped sooner than that.
Yeah, Devilman Crybaby. It does not pull any punches, so to speak.
That's Sailor Moon, Steve.
or any of the multiple choice answers.
I was trying to go generic. Listen, Jill, I was trying to go generic and old enough so Steve would also get the joke.
Yes. Old man Steve.
It was a balancing act. Series, I would believe it. MLB's been on for a long time. I have nothing against it. Some of the fan base is like, woof. But hey, each to their own, right on?
I mean, it's grown-up dudes who like watching pony cartoons. Yeah, why not?
Well, hey, man, I know this for a fact because I saw a screen cap that they've straight up done like Big Lebowski references in it. So, and come on, I mean, have you ever tried to explain Rick and Morty to someone?
Yeah.
There's an alcoholic grandfather who kidnaps his
Yeah.
his grandson, which may or may not be his grandson from a different dimension, but yeah, they go on adventures.
It's interesting.
You just devolve to the point of just give it a couple of episodes. Just what, like the first 2 or 3 episodes.
Hey man, I didn't watch Rick and Morty until the butter, like long after the butter robot that's what got me in. Somebody posted that clip on our videos, and I just happened to watch it, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's delightful. I'm crushing the soul of a AI, and I was like, I'll watch this.
Yeah. Yes.
You pass butter. Oh.
Oh god.
God.
Oh my god. Have I watched Black
Welcome to the real world, buddy.
Let's see. Have I watched Black Lagoon? Is that it? This one?
Black Lagoon, yes. That's it. It's it's the boat. The boat is called Black Lagoon.
What?
Good one, Jelly Bean.
I watched Black Lagoon on Locomotion.
Well, my what was it? Crunchyroll I subscribed to? Whatever had the Dragon Ball, I bought a 1 month subscription to so I could yoink all of those. So, all right. No, I have not seen Black Lagoon. You know what they need to bring back? Cowboy Bebop. I want me some more of that in my life.
That is a good one. Yeah.
I rewatched Trigun. Trigun. Yeah. Rewatched that a couple of weeks ago.
Hey, Jellybean, I had a beeper. So did my
So
dealer.
did I. It was my birthday gift. It was my birthday gift when I was like 13.
Yeah.
That's got to be a fun thing to give to a child. Be like, what do you think this was used for? Like, I don't know. I think you can still get contracts for beepers, though, right?
Yeah. There's actually they still use them.
Well, I know they still use them. Dr. Girlfriend's got one.
Yeah.
But it's like thing with bunch of. It's got like 15 lines of text you can put on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They're more modern. But they use them for like conference setups and whatnot. We still use them at the Star Trek conventions because because the signal can penetrate where cell phones can't.
A special dial-in account?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Right on. I remember there was one thing like BT used to have is you could get like special rings for your landline. Like somebody...
Yeah.
And it would ring depending, like if it did one thing, it was like, oh, this is for this person. If it didn't, it would be for this other. Just silly things. Like the concept of landlines.
Yeah. Well, I say that. My internet is coming off of a RJ12 phone socket. So...
Well, yeah. Well, this is going to get interesting. I noticed this last night. We were sharing a little bit of cable modem knowledge with the Jordan. And I was looking, and I was like, wait a minute, I have an extra bonded upstream channel, because normally I have 4, which is 8 channels bonded into 4. And I was like, why is there 5 on there? This morning I get up, now I have 8 bonded. They're all unknown, they're not synced. I was like, what's going on here? And I don't know, I guess they're getting ready to light up the 3.1, but like with 8 up, they could easily, without saturating the node, offer like 50 megabit up packages. I don't really even know what we'd do with 50 megabits up. We'd go 1080, step 1.
Yeah, definitely.
1080, 60.
Yeah, Pedro, do you have RJ12 or RJ11?
12.
Yeah, it's 12 coming off of the wall. It's RJ11 plugging into the router.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Aw, sorry, Strider. Hey, man, at least you got that one sorted before you turned 40, all right?
Yeah. Oh, Matthew, poor Matthew.
No, I'm saying some things you want to get accomplished in life. I think that should be a goal.
Yeah, uppercase numbers. We need them.
Yes.
We're getting rid of those Velcro shoes next. Man, I would wear Velcro. If they didn't make ugly Velcro shoes, I'd wear Velcro.
I know.
That makes perfect sense.
Oh, that's all I wore when I was a kid. I love Velcro shoes, but they're ugly.
I think my parents kind of hammered into me that being able to tie your own shoes is a skill.
Yeah.
So I had one pair of Velcro sneakers. And
Pedro,
that was
listen
it.
to me, Pedro. One day this will save your life.
Yeah. No, I always had both. The Velcro shoes came out in the 70s, so that was like the new thing. Woo! Get your
Space
sneakers
shoes,
and
man.
Velcro.
You got your Velcro, you got your Tang. You're like, man, I'm going to be an astronaut.
It's a drink that comes as a fine powdered dust.
Smells great. I beat Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. That
Oh,
happened.
you did.
Yeah.
Good job, Finn. Good job.
Good job. You want to pat me on the head.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
It's like, oh, you can set up this elaborate streaming rig and all that, but I wasn't sure about your ability to beat a video game then.
Oh, I'm just teasing.
I had some preconceived notions. Pedro, you've beaten it, right?
Not Rise of the Tomb Raider. No.
You haven't? All right.
Yeah.
I just beat it on accident. It was one of those things. It's like, wait a minute, that's our end boss. All right, credits.
Yeah, I've just started it, so I haven't beat it yet either.
Well, it says I have 16 hours in it, and I know like 6 of those hours or 7 of those hours was just trying to get it to launch. So
I beat like the 2013 Tomb Raider in 14 hours with 100% on everything.
well, I beat most of that because I was playing it at like 30 frames and 24 frames a second, man.
I remember Strider saying, "Oh, you almost beat the record for 100%ing it for the speed run." It was like almost exactly 14 hours on the dot for the record.
I think I thought if you, Pedro, would have ended it because I did go back in the map because I was like, I know there was a ton of game to be played left, like tombs. There's not one map area that I even hit 20% on.
See, yeah, no, that doesn't gel for me. It's
I
like
played it
when
the
you get
Vin
to
way.
that point.
Man, see, this is the problem. This is the age gap right here. Back in my day, in the dark ages, games didn't have achievements. The goal of playing a game was to beat it. It wasn't to collect all the things.
It's not about the achievements. It's just that games nowadays, they have so little content that I want to make the most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. What I typically do is the first time I'm playing through it, I don't go for the achievements, and then I do it the second or third time.
I have like 3 games that I got all the achievements on Steam, and 2 of those were those games that you just get all the achievements from playing it regularly. So yeah.
I don't know. I have achievements and I have cards or things. Like, how does the card system even work in that? What's the point of that? It keeps us like, here, flip all your cards over. I'm like, why? What?
You can either get like badges for games that gives you XP that raises your Steam level, or you can just sell them on the market, which is what most people do. Yeah, if you have all the cards you need for a badge, you can create that particular badge, and there's like 5 different levels for badges for each individual game.
Man, you're like 40 kilometers past me giving the slightest fuck. Yeah. Thank you for clearing that up. So nothing I care about. Got it.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm good. I'll never be. No, I mean, even on Linux, man. What do I have now? I have like 534, 500. Yeah, somewhere in there. To the Steams. Steam looks different. Everyone install the beta. Look at that nightmare. You're like, whoa.
I know.
All right, what just happened?
Yeah.
And they still don't have proper high DPI. So.
Look at this poo. Let's see if I can. Come here, Steve. Get over here.
Hi, Alan. Hello, Mr. Alert.
I mean, it's not fugly. It looks better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cleaner looking.
It's in line with their refactoring of the UI that they said they were going to do. You know, before they said, you know what, fuck this shit. We'll just the filter, language filters off.
Oh, it is now. Thanks for the warning.
We'll just allow anything and everything on Steam.
So I've never bought a Windows game with the exception of Skyrim, which I didn't even buy with this account. It was from an older account. So I have 641 games total, 545. A lot of those are from Humbles. That was back when nowadays, if it doesn't have a Linux thing, I don't even bother redeeming it. That's why I have 7 pages of unredeemed Windows games on Humble.
Yep. Yeah, let's see, on my
See,
library,
I told you it was fugly.
637.
From a person who uses this font, thinks it looks good. All you need to know right there, ladies.
Matthew, I'm going to defend you because I like it too.
Aw, man. Nothing's wrong with a little sympathy defense on a Wednesday.
It'll get you going through the rest of the week.
A little pick me up. Oh, I guess I'll tell, I don't know, like Vape Bros. Pedro, you might consider picking one of these up. I got the Tesla. It's not from Tesla, but this is the H Cigar Aurora something. But it's like 45 bucks. But it takes the Tesla. This is what is in your Model 3, ladies and gentlemen. That's a 21700. So that's the only reason I'm buying a Tesla, so I'll have an unlimited supply of Vape Bro batteries, bro.
Steven needs one of those.
You should get him one. It's a squonker.
he needs that. He needs something stronger than what he has.
Oh man, you're in California. Weed's legal, man. I listen. When I show up, I'm gonna take Steve out and get him wrecked.
Okay, good.
We'll both be wrecked because I don't smoke either, man. We're gonna get some gummy bears, go to the beach. We're gonna come back with like some strange tattoos that neither one of us are ever gonna mention again. It's gonna be awesome.
$46, free shipping worldwide. Okay, that's doable.
Oh, you found one?
Yeah.
It's got a color display on it with a weird menu. It's got a bunch of stuff. It's like, I don't need this. You probably love it.
Yeah, that's. I was expecting much more expensive, but yeah, no, that's doable.
They're cheap. HC's been around for a while, and it takes 18650s too. It's got a little sliding thing on the back, which was one of the reasons. Like, oh, that's useful because I got a bunch of 18650 batteries, and it's not made out of the injected ABS plastic like most of them. I mean, this is zinc and aluminum. See, I said it. Aluminum, almost right. Say it.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. Aluminum. See, that was close.
Aw, thank you, Jordan.
I'll smoke, Steve. See, I care about your lungs, Steve. I want to get you straight up tripping, son, because liver and all that is going to process that THC. It's going to be a way different experience.
Yay, Alan. I love gummy bears too, especially those sour ones. Yay.
What was that butter device I found on Amazon, Pedro? Do you remember that?
Butter?
It was like an oil butter, a butter infusion. Butter.
Oh yeah. The butter baker that you could infuse.
It was butter infusion device. It was like $200. I was like, what is that? Why would you even? And part of my brain's like, buy one so you can put it on your counter when somebody comes over and be like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that's butter infusion. Don't you have one? We all have one.
No.
And
it's a butter churn for things.
Well, I was like, I had no idea. And you scroll down, it was like recommended, and all the ice trays were just like pot leaves. And I was like, oh, got it. Understood. I got it. I like pina coladas and caught in the rain.
Oh,
Man,
that song. Okay.
Yeah.
I've done hot yoga a couple of times. That's brutal. Like once you get towards the end, you usually nope out.
Then it turned into a pretzel.
Oh, I mean, I'm on my second 2 liters. I stay hydrated.
Yes, Steve has bent. Flea boy.
infuser. We need a butter infuser robot. It's just got a crippling drug addiction. Will be awesome. It'll be a mascot. All right. I think that's going to... We got anything else going on, beautiful people?
No, we got streams coming up.
That I
We
can
got
think of.
shows coming up.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan. Since you're
Yeah.
working, what are you planning on doing tomorrow for the stream? Oh, Pedro played Doom Roguelike. It's thing. People seem to like it, I guess.
Yeah, it was
I got
awesome.
2 down votes, so it's not as bad as Albion.
Yeah, Vin. So tomorrow on Jordan's stream, we're playing Gauntlet, the Starship Simulator. So
Okay.
it's going to be me and Jordan, Sandy, and maybe Empty, and a few other people coming in.
Got it. That's the plan anyway. We're about to find out what's
Yeah.
really going on.
Yeah, it's going to be. We're going to have to do some testing on it because we've got to do screen sharing and everything because of the different
Yeah,
panels.
there we go.
that we have to
Quintet,
look at.
if you can get it working, Torchlight, otherwise.
Oh, I meant Quintet, not Gauntlet. Sorry.
Listen, man, I saw for Space Gauntlet. I was like, okay, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I broke down it
Torchlight. That's great.
because I love you guys so much. I bought Jackbox Party Pack 4.
Yay! That'll be fun on Friday's Foo Bar.
So we got the latest and greatest of that. And it's even got a new drawing game.
Yes? Yay!
That's it. That's a thing. And it's got one that can take up like 16 players too.
Oh, cool. That'll be good.
It was on sale for like $15. I was like, all right, fine. So I think I've officially like out of pocket, what, like $100 of trivia games. That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
I know. You've been buying all the things.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to have. Strider even enjoyed playing last week.
Yes, he did. We finally got him to play. We took him hostage and finally got him to play, and now he enjoys playing the games. The Jackbox games. And my brother enjoyed it also.
Yeah,
He
we
played
a little
on
bit Saturday. Yeah. No Linux Nero. You just need to own internet connection.
No, you don't, Linux Gnu. And I friended you, so you just friend me back, and I'll get you in the group on Friday. Yes, it is, Matthew, definitely. That's why I was telling you have to play it to see how.
Well, you see,
understand
this is
it,
what I
see how
don't
funny-
understand is it hasn't clicked in that baguette brain of his that there's a room code, even if you're not immediately in the game, you can play at home
Yeah.
too, against
Yeah.
everyone can. It's like almost unlimited audience participation.
Yeah.
And we saw, because a lot of people watch the shows on Saturday night. I mean, we had like 5 or 6 people on top of the maxed out 8 players that were playing, and that swings the votes, which is kind of fun, because you never know.
Yeah.
Playing against me and Jordan, playing against each other in games where we have to guess whose is whose, that doesn't work, because our like core logic is the same. So it's really completely different human beings, radically different, but like the very basis is like I just stuck out like a sore thumb. And it's like, and of course I don't want to give him points. So I was actively voting for worser suggestions to make sure he didn't get points, as one is supposed to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's how you show people you care.
Yeah. Mhm. Oh yeah, Linux GNU. It's the same. It's the same company. I don't know Jack. Yeah, I played those back in the 90s too.
Those are available on Steam, just not on Linux.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
they don't even publicly say all of the Jackbox is. The only way you'd know that is one of the developers posted in some random post on their forums. He's like, yeah, by the way, I got all this working in Linux. Which it does. It doesn't officially support it, but it works because it's just a bunch of SWFs.
Mhm. Yeah, Linux GNU. We'll definitely get you in some of the games. We've got ones that take lots of people, so it'll be no problem. We're gonna get you in there.
He's going to keep asking if you keep responding, Jill.
I know.
He's like, somebody on the internet's talking back to me.
Oh, we love our Linux GNU. So, how are the fiber baboons treating you today? The internet fiber baboons.
They're all 100% Flash.
Flash.
Yeah. If you open the game folder, it's just SDBF files.
Yeah. Shockwave.
You gotta love Linux nerd. Like, just could you help me out? I'm struggling in Tanzania. Could you send me a copy of your game? If I can play it on my $5,000 System 76 laptop. Dude's got a better PC than our render box. Oh, I did post the benchmarks for Tomb Raider in Chat Realm.
Yes, I saw that. That was cool.
I was curious as to what did you end up with, Pedro?
100 and something average.
1080 high, 118 and 113 on very high. Linux is 107.93. And I'm at 79 and 71.
It's, yeah, I still haven't run those benchmarks at 4K.
You never will.
Yeah. Could probably set up some scaling to actually get to 496.
No. No, I'm never letting that go, ladies and gentlemen. The monitors that you have at home, the TVs that you have at home are not 4K. They're not, by industry standard, 4K.
Nope.
They're UHD. That is
They're
their BS marketing term for not 4K. That's what I own in front of me.
4 times 1080p. Yeah.
Still not the standard. I'm not gonna let it down. I'm gonna hold on to that. And I do not bring it up in casual conversation. I'm just doing it right now because it's funny. But I would. Oh, don't you hate those people? They're like, well, actually, I'm like, oh, no, keep walking. Nope. I'm out. UHD, man. 1440. I mean, I can deal with a 1440 monitor. I don't know. I gotta see some better HDR content. Does it look different? Yes. I will say that about HDR. It's more noticeable to see something in HDR than it is to see it from 1080p to UHD.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I will say that. Come on, Willie. Bus Simulator 18's number 2 now.
Bus Simulator.
Bus Simulator, man. You know, Pedro, if we'd get our act together, that'll be Brick Simulator.
Yeah.
Or are you telling me we couldn't get our game Brick Simulator up there? I mean,
I'm not entirely sure Brick Simulator would get past the trolling clause that Valve has going on right now.
listen, man, if we take my game design documents, how I was envisioning Brick Simulator, it really would. It would get past it because it would be a straight up brick simulation. It was just going to be a stage where you could rotate a brick and you could buy DLC skins for it. And then it can go to different environments. You know, just background images. Like, here's your brick at the park. Your brick under the ocean.
We gotta suggest that to Foxy.
There are some specials. No, Football Manager Dying Light's still a fun game. 60% off, man. £9. It's fun. I would play the extra part, but I gotta beat the main part. Nice. Yeah, I don't care enough. Kind of slammed into that wall. Need to get.
Well, it's a quick time event final boss because it's from that particular era.
I'm not going to spoil anything about Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Okay. Quick time event final boss. I'll just say this: it made Shadow of Mordor quick time event final boss look elaborate.
Oh, wow. Okay. It's even worse than the 2013 Tomb Raider.
I really was going, where's the popcorn? It's like, oh, right, there's some DLC for the rest of the game. That's right, I forgot about that. Okay, I think that's it. What do you got going on the rest of the day, Jill?
I'm gonna get some exercise. I definitely need that. So
Right
I
on.
can get happy. Yay. That's and I gotta get ready for quintet, so I'm gonna be playing that a bit, and yeah.
Pedro, I know you're allergic to exercise, so that will not be on this evening's menu.
No. What's going to be on this evening's menu is that white pan on the stove there.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Aw.
Zoom in and
It's
hands.
got-
Zoom in and
yeah.
hands.
That one right there, as you can see it. It's got leftovers from yesterday, so I was just gonna warm them up and have some dinner.
Leftover what?
Pork with those teeny tiny baby carrots.
Oh, so you just have like unrefrigerated pork sitting out?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Pedro's gonna learn a lesson, kids.
Dinner simulator, Pedro. Steven said.
E. coli simulators. What he's doing. No, don't worry. I mean, like chicken, pork is something you should always order medium rare.
Yay! Yeah, yeah, Jordan.
It was
I think
properly
they're
cooked.
swats.
It's just been out of the fridge for a little bit.
That's awesome.
All right, I'm going to turn this into a podcast, and then I'm going to talk myself into picking up a HDMI splitter so we can continue on with our experimentations.
Cool.
That will be a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I won't be back tomorrow, but Jill will be back in some shape, form, or fashion, along with Jordan and the rest of the miscreants. Check out our schedule. It's on a web zone, or just subscribe. Smash that like button, fam. On the YouTubes, you get alerts when we go live. Sometimes. Depends on what type of
Ring the
mood
bell.
YouTube is in, whether or not you get alerts. Because now, that doesn't mean anything. Once you actively go to a channel, subscribe to the channel, then click on the notification to get notified. YouTube takes that as a maybe.
Oh, bye, Barbrand.
Hey, Barbara. Do that. We'll be back Saturday. Friday, we'll be doing trivia night. Saturday, we're going to be doing the big show. We got, it's going to be pretty big. Steam heavy this week. Steam's doing things, and we're going to be talking about that. All right. Until next week, though. Dynafy. We love you.
Bye, Shout Round. Love you.